Hey guys! Okay. I want this to be on my face. So I can smile awkwardly. Okay. But I don't know, it just doesn't let you do that in the from the very front. Okay, so I had something really embarrassing happen to me last week, and I wanted to share it because I have a compulsion to share things on the internet. I think it's like a diagnosis that we just haven't gotten yet. But also for like a very real, serious reason, because I think that putting out there might be good for feeling less shame about it, because the secret places are shameful places. And I've already shared this with my work team and several other people, and it's really not that big of a deal, but it was for me at the time. So, but also, here's the other thing. I have this idea for a weekly Periscope thing I want to do called Story of the Week, because I want to become better at storytelling. And so I have been keeping notes every day of like a story from that day. It's just it's like a little clip of something that happened that day that could expand into a bigger story. And so I was thinking once a week on Periscope I could pick one of those and tell the story. And I don't know if it would work that well because I might get distracted with all the comments, but I thought I would try it. So I'm going to start with this story. All right, so I was on the airplane. I was super excited. This was a week ago when I was on my way to London. Actually, it was the really small plane that you take from Charleston to Atlanta. And so I was on the plane, super excited. We had been delayed, so it was like, okay, we're gonna get there. Super excited. I had this really garlicky pizza for dinner, and so I was chewing gum to spare the people around me, namely my husband. And I had a magazine. I had bought a magazine from the airport, which is like super indulgent, but I bought Time magazine because Stephen Colbert was on the front, and he's my dream like comedian. I just love him so much. If you're not watching The Late Show, you have to. It's so good. That's a side note. But anyway, so I got this article, this Time magazine with Stephen Colbert. I was flipping through it, chewing my gum. I was listening to music. This could not be going better. My husband was next to me. He was listening to music. Had a little headache, but other than that, things were great. And then I noticed the girl in front of me turn around, like I see her face, like as if she's like, turning, like she's trying to talk to me. And I'm like, oh, this is weird. Like, people don't normally talk on airplanes, especially in front of you. So I kind of lean forward to see, and she's like, can you stop smacking your gum? And I was appalled. Like, I didn't even realize I was doing it. That's why I was so embarrassed. Like, I thought I must have misheard her. I was like, excuse me? And she said, can you stop smacking your gum? And I was so embarrassed. I was like, did anyone else hear that? Like, I felt like I had just been slapped in the face. I was so embarrassed. I'm getting, like, my heart is racing a little bit right now, even though I've already shared this story twice. And so I just kind of sat back and was stunned for a second. And, like, she did the adult thing, right? Like, if you were going to be writing into an etiquette column to ask, like, the person next to me is smacking their gum and it's really bothering me, what should I do? The etiquette expert would write back and be like, just ask them politely to stop, instead of being passive aggressive or just sitting there being annoyed. So I couldn't even really be mad at her, which made me really mad at her. But mostly just because I was embarrassed, like you want to lash out when someone points out something that's just like actually true but embarrassing. And so I was just kind of sat back. I noticed that Mike was still listening to his headphones, so luckily he had not heard this exchange. And I thought about spitting out my gum, but then I felt like it was just my penance that like I needed to just sit there and keep chewing it quietly. So I was just like, like just barely moving my mouth at all, which was not enjoyable, and the gum was stale, but I kept it in for that 45-minute flight. And I had kind of worn off by the time that we got off the plane. I mean, the embarrassment, the sting had sort of worn off. But not fully, because I was a little mad that she interrupted that moment I was having with Stephen Colbert. Now I just feel like it wasn't, I was having such a great experience on the plane and it was totally interrupted. Anyway, this story is getting long, but we got off the plane, I scoped her out, and she was in like a business suit, and she had this blonde, like, done nicely hair, and I was like wishing that she would be a cranky older woman maybe, or like a harried mother, like that she was just really stressed out. No, she was perfectly put together, and so naturally in my brain I lashed out like, well, you're probably not a real blonde, and look at you, so professional, looking so nice in your suit, must be nice, you business professional. And then I realized, obviously, if I'm lashing out, I'm still just feeling a little hurt. And then I just kept this little story to myself. I was gonna tell my husband, but I felt like so much shame about it that I couldn't. And it's not a big deal. I mean, like two of you have said that you also smack your gum, so it's not a big deal. But I just felt like, because I didn't know, that was the thing that was so embarrassing about it. It was because I had no idea. And then I wondered, what else do I do on a daily basis that I have no idea what's happening? So I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask the people in my real life about that, if they want to get honest with me about like annoying habits that I have. But I will not be having any gum for a while. That's the bottom line here. I would rather have bad breath, let's be honest. So that's my story. I wish that there was more takeaways or more to it than that, but that's all. Oh no, Amanda, someone had to let you know that your fly was down. But again, don't you feel like, well, if you wrote into an etiquette column, that's what they would say. Like, better to tell someone, right, than to like just let them be embarrassed. Your ponytails were crooked. Well, you should have just told me you were doing that on purpose. It was the style. Oh, you're British. Wait, what would you do that was blunt? I missed the comment of whatever you did that was blunt. You wanted to saw your eyes out. Oh, it's so sad. It's such a sting. It's like, oh, it seems like it shouldn't matter, but it does. Like, it's like no big deal. It's a stranger on an airplane, but it feels like a big deal. So, all right, well, I'm glad we can all have this awkward experience together. I might try to do another story of the week next week. Hopefully it will be less personally embarrassing next Friday. So, oh yeah, she was blunt. Oh, okay, yeah, she was blunt about that. It was very straightforward. It was very professional, because she's such a professional. All right, I gotta go. Bye, guys.